Okay, we are going to be doing full daf today, daf Yud, Amud Aleph and Amud Bet, B'Shat Hashem. So we're at the last two words of Tet Amud Bet, Ve'ibait Ema, another answer. So over here we had Machloket Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda as to those psukim in Kohelet. What was the best way with regards to Nedarim? And Rabbi Meir says better not to make a neder at all. And we said that it sounds like even not to do a nedava, and that's not going to be like our Mishnah, because remember our Mishnah says if I say I want to do like the nedarim of the ksherim, it doesn't go, but nedava of the ksherim does work. Or Rabbi Meir, so we worked out with the last Gemara that we could fit Rabbi Meir in. Rabbi Yehuda is of the opinion it's better to make a neder and pay. Then that's the best, to make a neder and pay. So that's also not like our Mishnah, because our Mishnah says we don't do nedarim of ksherim, we do nedava of ksherim. So the Gemara goes as follows. We're going to try fitting in Rabbi Yehuda into our Mishnah. Ve'ibaitem, another answer, you could say afilu tema Rabbi Yehuda. You could even say that our Mishnah is like Rabbi Yehuda. Ki amar Rabbi Yehuda benedava, beneder lo amar. That we're modifying what Rabbi Yehuda said. Rabbi Yehuda didn't say it's better to make a neder and pay, but rather it's better to make a nedava and pay. So neder he also agrees that you shouldn't do, but nedava you should do. And therefore the machloket, so that fits with our Mishnah, and the machloket, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, would be Rabbi Meir, it sounds like no, better not to do a neder or a nedava. And Rabbi Yehuda says it's still good to do a nedava. There you go. What's going on? We just started.
Listen.
Yeah. So we just started. We're at the top of Yud Amud Aleph, and we're fitting in Rabbi Yehuda into our Mishnah. And Rabbi Yehuda's opinion was that it's better to make a neder and pay, which our Mishnah said that for ksherim we don't. If a guy says I want to make a neder like the ksherim, like the kosher people, ksherim don't make nedarim; they make nedavot. Rabbi Yehuda says it's better to make a neder. So says the Gemara, no, Rabbi Yehuda meant is nedava, donations, that yes, but not neder. So the Gemara says, V'haketani, second line down, V'haketani tov mizeh umizeh noder mekayem. Rabbi Yehuda's statement was the best from these three psukim that we quoted from Kohelet was noder umekayem, make a neder and fulfill it. Answer the Gemara, Tani nodev umekayem. No, not noder umekayem, nodev umekayem. That is really the way it's supposed to be. Nedava and fulfill the nedava. So, okay, so, fine, let's continue. Says the Gemara, Maishna noder delo. So the Gemara, this is similar to last Gemara, like, okay, so why neder no and nedava yes? So Maishna noder delo, dil ma'ati bali takala. Why shouldn't you do a neder? Because you might come to a stumbling block. You might say, I want a neder to do this, and you don't do it, then you're going to be violating. So that's why ksherim wouldn't make a nedarim. Nedava nami, dil ma'ati takala. But nedava as well, you might come to a stumbling block. You might say, okay, I'm going to make this as a nedava. You might not do it, and that's also a violation. Because nedava is somewhat of a neder. So, says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda leta'ameh. Rabbi Yehuda is according to his reasoning, and this is like the reason of Hillel we saw last Gemara. Damar Adam mevi kivsato la'azara umakdisha v'somech alev v'shochta. He says that a person brings his sheep to the azara, and he brings it as a chulin, and then umakdisha, and then he makes it kadosh. So there's no you're not going to violate on using that me'ilah for your own reason, and also you're not going to violate on the neder because you didn't make any neder until the moment that you're actually going to bring the korban. Makdisha, then you do smicha and you do shechita. So there's no time. So here by a nedava, you're for sure going to be able to do it. That's the type of case. That's the type of nedava we're talking about. Okay, so the Gemara continues. This is similar to last Gemara as well. Tenach nedava de korbanot. I understand in nedava of korbanot that you could, right at the last moment, you could make it kadosh, etc. Nedava de nezirut, ma'ikal memar. But nedavav nezirut, how does that work? So he said in Rabbi Meir, nedavav nezirut is that you are doing it with the right reasons, the right kavanah. According to Rabbi Yehuda, how does this work? Nedavav nezirut. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda leta'ameh. Rabbi Yehuda goes according to his reasoning from in a different brayta. The Tanya. This is a Tosefta. Rabbi Yehuda omer Chasidim arishonim hayu mitavin lahavi korban chatat. Chasidim, the early Chasidim, had a ta'ava, they had a lust that they really wanted to bring a korban chatat, a sin offering. Because Hashem wouldn't, there were such tzaddikim, Hashem wouldn't bring them to sin. Chatat is an accidental sin. But these people were tzaddikim, and Hashem wouldn't even bring them accidental sins. So therefore, but they wanted, it's a mitzvah in the Torah to bring, like it's not a chiyuv to bring a chatat, but it's a mitzvah if a person sinned to bring a chatat. So they want to mekayim one of these 630 mitzvot, bring a chatat. Like they say that people wanted to mekayim the mitzvah of giving a get. Like if you need to get divorced, the way you get divorced is giving a get. You get a mitzvah out of it. So they say that tzaddikim, not kohanim, they would divorce them, remarry their wife or whatever, just to fulfill the giving. So tzaddikim, they really wanted to bring a chatat, but they didn't want to. They obviously didn't want to sin, and Hashem wouldn't make them sin because they were tzaddikim. So mahayu osin. So then what would they do? Omdim umidnadvim nezirut lamakom. They would stand up and they would say, as a nedava, I want to be a nazir. Korban chatat lamakom, in order to be chayev a korban chatat, because every nazir brought a korban chatat. So they would be davka become nazirim. It's not a sin to be a nazir, but one of the totzaot of being a nazir is that you have to bring a korban chatat. We're going to see, is it a sin or not? Like, is it something wrong with becoming a nazir or not? We're going to see. So that was the type of nedava of nazirut. So we spoke last time nedava nezirut with that person Shimon HaTzadik that he mamish had the right kavanah. Here is a different explanation that they wanted to do the mitzvah so badly of chatat. That's why people would offer and become a nazir. Also, again, it's similar to the right kavanah. Okay, so I missed one. Okay. Says the Gemara. Gemara continues. Shimon Omer. Rabbi Shimon says, Lo nidru banazir ela harotze lavi ola minadev. Oh, so Rabbi Shimon argues on this. And Rabbi Yehuda says that tzaddikim would have a ta'ava to give a chatat, and therefore they became a nazir. Rabbi Shimon says, Lo nidru banazir. No, they didn't do that. They didn't. They didn't make this neder of becoming a nazir. But rather, if a person wanted to bring a korban olah, they could bring a korban olah as a nedava. Shelami mitnadev umevi. Shelami, a person could offer and bring. Toda ve'arba'a min lachma, a toda, and it's 4 types of breads that come with the korban toda. We're going to see the run in a moment. mitnadev umevi. A person can donate and bring. Aval benezirut lo hitnadvu kedei shelo yikru chotin. But Nazirut, they would not offer to become a Nazir so that they should not be called sinners. Shneimar v'kiper alav me'asher chata ala nefesh. This pasuk says by a Nazir that he has an atonement for the sin that he did on his soul. So there's an element of sin in becoming a Nazir. So Rabbi Shimon says they didn't be offered to become a Nazir, because that would be like a sin. So Machlok Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda says they had a ta'ava to bring a korban chatat, therefore they would offer to become a Nazir. Rabbi Shimon says it could be they had a ta'ava to bring a chatat, but they would not do so in the Nazir format because they would be called a sinner, and they didn't want to be called a sinner. Okay. When it said over here Todah and the 4 types of breads, because it says the Ran, this is 4 lines down in the thin lines. Daled minei lachma chametz v'gimel minim shel matzah. The 4 types of breads that came with Korban Todah was, one of them was chametz, and 3 types of matzah, chalot, rikikin, revuchin. And this, if you remember, we have a minhag not to say Mizmor LeTodah on Pesach, because Mizmor LeTodah was one of the 2 types of bread offerings that were chametz, and therefore we don't say it on Pesach. And actually, it was a chidush for me when I learned that everything in the Bet HaMikdash was not chametz. Even lechem hapanim was not chametz. Yeah, except for 2 things that were chametz. And there's the pasuk says by both of chametz te'afena, make a chametz, which is korban todah, the breads that came with the korban todah, and the korban ha'omer by Shavuot. Those were chametz. Everything else, lechem hapanim, was not chametz. Yeah, it's crazy. Like bread, like was baked within 18 minutes, whatever. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So
it goes to show you that they're like probably Yemenites.
Maybe it's a proof. Yeah, it wasn't. It's cracked bread.
It's lechem. It's lechem. Didn't say matzah.
And also like the form, the way it was formed.
Yeah.
It was like a bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Yemenite. Don't tell Abishai, I'll get too excited. Okay. So now, says the Gemara. Amar Abaye. Says Abaye, Shimon HaTzadik, V'Rabbi Shimon, V'Rabbi Elazar Kafar. Abaye says that Shimon HaTzadik, Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Elazar Kafar, Kulan Shita Achat Hen. They all are according to the same opinion. The Nazir Chotehavi. A person that's a Nazir is like a sinner. Shimon HaTzadik, that was last Gemara, because remember Shimon HaTzadik didn't eat from the asham of a Nazir Tameh, because the people didn't have the right kavanah, if you remember. So that's one. Rabbi Shimon over here says as well that tzaddikim rishonim, chasidim rishonim would not become a Nazir because they didn't want to be called a choteh. And now Rabbi Elazar Kapar also. Let's see. Says the Gemara, Shimon HaTzadik, Rabbi Shimon Hadamran. Shimon HaTzadik and Rabbi Shimon, that we already said earlier. Rabbi Elazar Kapar, Be'Rabbi, and Rabbi Elazar Kapar. And the name of Rabbi is as follows. The Tanya. Rabbi Elazar Kapar Rabbi Omer. Vekiper alav me'asher chata ala nefesh. This is talking about a Nazir that became Tameh. The Pasuk says, and he gets an atonement on his sin, on the soul, on his nefesh. Vechi be'ezo nefesh chet. On which soul are we talking about? Ela shetzier, so like chata ala nefesh, sin on his soul. Which soul? On the soul of this guy that became a Nazir. Ela shetzier atzmo min hayayin. The fact that this guy who became a Nazir, he hurt himself from not having wine, that was called a sin. V'halot devarim kal v'chomer. Are the word a thing? It's a kal v'chomer. Uma zeh shelo tzir atzmo ela min hayayin nikra choteh. If a person forbids himself from drinking wine, he's called a sinner. If a person he hurts himself from not eating anything, how much more so is he a sinner? Mikan kol yoshev b'ta'anit nikra choteh. From here we learn anyone that sits and fasting is called a sinner. Unbelievable. I mean, so looking into this, there's like what the Aron Tzadikim always fasting, whatever. So if you're doing it for the right reasons, as a tikkun, there's room for that. That it's fine. But it seems like over here that you're like paining yourself for the fact of pain, for the fact of, and not for, I guess, the right kavanah, and you're shev beta'anit nikra choteh. This is also an element of enjoying Hashem's world. In that Hashem gave us a world. There's things that are not allowed, things that are allowed. Things that are allowed, like, okay, it didn't say you have to hold yourself back from. So you're mitzayer yourself from the wine, you're called choteh. All the more so if you're mitzayer yourself from everything by fasting, then it's also for sure choteh. So that's the statement of Rabbi Elazar Kapar. And then the Gemara ends on that point. V'hadin kra nazir benazir tamektiv. But the pasuk is talking about a nazir that's tameh. What's this question? V'hadin kra benazir tamektiv. Shum deshana bechatu. One second. Okay, let's see. So just prior to these last two lines, so we have these three rabbanim that are saying the same type of thing, that a nazir is a choteh. Rabbi Elazar Hakapar, as we just explained. Rabbi Shimon, as we just explained earlier, and Shimon HaTzadik. The Ran points out that Shimon HaTzadik's opinion is a little bit different, because Shimon HaTzadik would eat from the korban of a regular Nazir. A guy did 30 days Nazir, he finished his Nazirut, they'd bring it, and he'd do a korban, he would eat those ones. But the ones he wouldn't eat was as a Nazir that became Tameh, and he has to restart his 30 days. And we said last time, remember that, he's going to restart 30 days, I shouldn't have done this in the first place. So it's as if like the whole thing, the whole korban is like he would have, he wouldn't have wanted to do it in the first place. But so that's the Ran points out that Shimon HaTzadik is a little bit different. This last point here, Ve'adin krabin nazir tamektiv. What's the question here? But this pasuk is talking about a nazir that sinned. Nazir that sinned.
It's understood simply that verse means that the Nazir requires atonement for not having been more scrupulous in avoiding Tumah.
Oh yes, so it's not. So the Gemara is asking, it's not just that he became a Nazir; it's a Nazir Tameh. We're talking about not just a Nazir. So the Gemara answers, Mishum deshana bechetu. He did two sins. One is that he held himself back from wine, and one is that he was also became tameh. He didn't watch himself becoming tameh.
I have here, from here it can be derived that whoever fasts unnecessarily is called a sinner.
Yeah, that's the earlier piece. Yeah, what does it say on these last two lines? V'adin krabin nazir tamektiv. That pasuk's talking about a nazir that's tameh, and not a regular nazir. And your answer that it's two sins.
Yeah, it's actually last.
Rishi interpreted the verse, and he shall atone for him for having sinned regarding the soul, asher chata ala nefesh, as referring to every nazir. The Gemara questions this interpretation. It's talking about a nazir tameh, not every nazir is a sinner. Says the Gemara, it's written there because the nazir became tameh compounded the sin. Besides distressing himself through abstinence and holding back from drinking wine, he additionally allowed himself to become tameh. However, it actually means to confer the pejorative sinner, whatever, even on the Nazir who did not become Tameh. It even includes that Nazir. Long one over here. It referred not only to Nazir become Tameh, the verse. Okay, so ala nefesh, that's the thing. Because it says ala nefesh, right? Masher chata ala nefesh. So ala nefesh is going on the fact that he became tameh. Masher chata is going on the fact that he held back from wine. So even though the pasuk's talk about nazir tameh, it's two things over here.
Pejorative.
Each one is its own sin.
Pejorative.
Pejorative.
I've never heard of the word in my life.
Derogatory. Isn't it derogatory?
No, expressing contempt or disapproval. Permissiveness is used almost universally as a pejorative term. Pejorative. Similar, disparaging, derogatory.
Yeah.
Come on, I see.
Okay.
I've never heard of the word in my entire life. Again, I don't read a lot, but not English books at least. But
okay, so we were able
Sure.
to fit in Rabbi Shimon and our Mishnah as is we did with Rabbi Meir. We did see three opinions that say being a Nazir is a choteh. Someone that fasts unnecessarily is not good. We saw how you could be a nedava of Nazir with either bringing, Nedava of Korban is bring the Korban at the last moment and make it Kaddish at the last moment. Nedava of Nazir, the opinion in Rabbi Meir was that the person had the right Kavanah, and over here, the case was also the right Kavanah, but it was, people that had a Ta'ava to doing the Korban Chatat. That's what Rabbi Shimon argued, that they wouldn't want to be called sinners. And that's where we get into the thing that it's called a sinner. Okay, Mishnah. Haomer, someone says, Kunam, Kunach, Kunas. Hareelu, Kinuim, the Korban. So that we learned already. There's a Kinui for a Korban. Like, Kunam, this on me. So this item is going to be, it's like you said, the word Korban, and it's asur to eat, to benefit from. Cherek, so we're going to be learning today a lot of interesting types of words. Cherek, cheref. Sorry, cherek, cherech, cheref. Harelu kinuim the cherem. These are all kinuim for cherem, which is, cherem is for like hekdesh, for the Bet HaMikdash. Nazik, naziach, paziach. Harelu kinuim the nezirut. These are all kinuim, nicknames for seeing nezirut. I want to be a nazik. I want to be a nazich. A pazich. Those are all, it's like you said, you want to be a nazir. Shivuta, shikuka, noder bemohi, harelu kinuim the shivua. Person says, I'm making a shivuta that I'm not coming to a shul or whatever. That's a shivua. I'm making a shkuka or noder bemohi. So we're going to see the ran on the next page. The mohi is there's a nickname for Moshe, Mohi. Is it Mohi? Is Moshe?
Moshe, short name.
No, people call people Mohi.
Mohi?
Like, that'd be
Moshe?
Not from Moshe Rabbeinu, but
Mohi?
Mohi. Like, Mohi. Again, there's Moshe,
Mo.
Mohi. Also, I know a guy named Mohi. Anyway, so here it's Mohi.
Not Mowgli?
No. Noder ben Mohi is Noder ben Moshe. We're going to see the run. All these are a nickname for Shavua. Okay? So these are the nicknames. Itmar. Kinuin. Now this, Itmar, by the way, we saw this on the first Gemara, the first day of the Shiur of Masechet Nedarim, because we spoke about the Ran's introduction to Masechet Nedarim. He quoted this Gemara. Let's see, Kinuim, Rav Yochanan Amar, where do these Kinuim come from? Where do all these words come from? Lashon Umotim. It's a Lashon of the nations. Goyim made up these words. Shekuka, Shevuta, fine. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar, Lashon Shebadu Laim Chachamim Liot Noderbo. These are words that the Chachamim made up in order to use to swear. Chachamim made them up. The Gemara goes on a one-line sidetrack. Shebadu means to make up. So the Gemara says, where does this word Shebadu come from? V'chenu omer, there's a pasuk that also says this word Shebadu. Bechodesh asher bada milibo. This is talking about a pasuk by Yerovam ben Nevat, very bad king. And Yerovam was David's son, right? Very bad, and he convinced people that Sukkot was moved to Cheshvan. So he says, B'chodesh, in the month, Asher Bada Milibo, that he made up from his heart. Bada is made up. So that's a pasuk in Melachim. Pasuk in Melachim. So we see Bada means to make up. Okay. Says the Gemara, the time, 3 lines from the bottom, the time mai takinu rabbanan kinuin. According to Rish Lakish, why did the Chachamim make kinuim? Why do they make nicknames? Says the Gemara, de lo lema korban, in order not to say korban. We don't want you to say korban, so here say something else. De lema korban, just say korban. What's the big deal saying korban? Says the Gemara, dilma amar korban lashem. Maybe you're going to say korban to Hashem. You're going to say Hashem's name in vain. Says the Gemara, V'leima korban Hashem. So what? Say korban Hashem. It's not in vain. If I say this is going to be like a korban Hashem to me, it's not in vain. Says the Gemara, Dilma Amar La Hashem V'lo Amar korban. The guy might just say to Hashem, I'm not going to say korban. V'kamafik Shem Shemim Levatala, and that is saying Hashem's name in vain. So all this Lashon Chachamim made up new words, not to say korban and not to eventually say Hashem's name in vain. Betanya, it says in the Braita. And this Braita is in Torah Kohanim, Midrash. Betanya, Rabbi Shimon Omer, next page, Minayim, Shelo Yomar Adam. How do we know that a person should not say La Hashem Ola, La Hashem Mincha, La Hashem Todah, La Hashem Shlamim? Do not say it that way. Say Korban La Hashem. Don't say it that way. Talmud Lomar. How do I know not to say it? Because the pasuk says Talmud Lomar Korban La Hashem. Pasuk says Korban first before Hashem. Korban first and not Hashem. V'kava chomer. There's a kava chomer. Uma zeh shelo nitkaven ela leazkir shem shamayim ala korban amrat Torah korban Hashem. This person who had kavana l'shem shamayim. He had kavana l'shem shamayim. So he had kavana l'shem shamayim, and yet he maybe said La Hashem only, and that's still called saying Hashem's name in vain. Levatala alachat kama v'kama. Saying Hashem's name in vain, mamash, all the more so how bad that is. Okay? So we're supposed to say Korban Lashem and not Lashem Korban. So when looking around also, a deeper reason as to why this was the Ben Ish Chai. Why Korban Lashem and not Lashem Korban? Because a person might say Lashem and then Chashon pass away. So you just said Hashem's name in vain. If you said Korban Lashem then pass away, you said Korban Lashem. So that's Hashem wasn't alone. So it's amazing how you're 1 second to the next. But then we have a question. What do we say when we go to the Torah? Hashem imachem. You say Hashem first. That's not a question because you say Hashem. You don't say Amonai imachem.
Some people do.
Some people do. So maybe that could be an issue.
I just heard recently.
Yes.
I didn't understand. I've never heard it before.
Yeah, I heard it a few times, but I think that's not correct according to this. So I had Boaz do it. The original Hashem imachem is Boaz. That said it in the story of Ruth. So there, he had a nevuah that he's gonna die after he goes with Ruth. So he knew he was gonna die yet. So he said Hashem Imachem. So he could say, fine, we don't have that nevuah. So we go to Torah, we have to say Hashem imachem and not Monai imachem. It's amazing, how one word, what else did I read my notes? Yeah, amazing, no? Okay, let's continue. We are 5 lines down. Lema ketanai. Maybe this machloket of Rav Yochanan and Rish Lakish, that Rav Yochanan says these words are created by the nations. Rish Lakish says these words were created by the Chachamim. Maybe this machloket is a machloket Tanaim, because Rav Yochanan and Rish Lakish were Amoraim. Maybe there's a machloket Tanaim. Let's see. Of Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. Bet Shammai omrim, kinuye kinuyin asurim. Bet Hillel omrim, kinuye kinuyim mutarim. Machloket, nicknames of nicknames. So Bet Shammai says nicknames of nicknames are also like nicknames, and therefore it's asur also. Bet Hillel says nicknames of nicknames are mutar. So nicknames of nicknames are mutar according to Bet Hillel. So let's see what this means. My love, isn't it man de amar kinuye kinuyim asurim? According to the opinion, which is Bet Shammai, that says the nicknames of nicknames is asur, kasavar, he holds kinuyin lashon umoten, that the kinuyim are from the nations, and therefore, if the goyim made this word be considered a promise, so it's a promise and promise. So promise is also meaning swear. Let's say is the neder. Promise is like a kinui. Promise is a kinui of a kinui. Let's say, but if the nations hold the word promise is like a promise, then that should work. So according to Bet Shammai, the opinion of kinuye kinuyim is asur. Maybe it's because he holds that kinuyim come from the Umot HaOlam. Because anything that the Umot HaOlam say is considered a promise, as a promise, even if it's a kinui v'kinui. Well, the mandam are mutarim, but according to Bet Hillel it says it's allowed, because it's a lashon of the Chachamim. And this kinui v'kinui is not a lashon of Chachamim. So if it's not a lashon of Chachamim, it's nothing. Maybe that's the machloket, and therefore you could say that Rav Yochanan is like Bet Shammai, and Rish Lakish is like Bet Hillel. Says the Gemara. No, we're not. It doesn't work as the machloket Bet Shammai, Bet Hillel, like Rav Yochanan and Rish Lakish. The Kul Alma, because everyone's of the opinion, Kinuyin Lashon Umotim. Everyone's of the opinion, Kinuyim are from the nations of the world. So what's the machloket Bet Shammai Bet Hillel? Well, Bet Shammai Savri Behani Nami Mishtai Umot. Bet Shammai says these kinuyim of kinuyim, the world, these nations also use promise, etc., whatever. Well, Bet Hillel Savri, Bet Hillel holds Behani Lo Mishtai Umot. These words kinuyim of kinuyim, the world does not use, and that's why it's like you said nothing. They have another answer to show that Bet Shammai Bet Hillel is not the machlok of Yochanan and Rish Lakish. Bet Shammai Savri Gazrin Kinuyim Mishum Kinuyim. It's a gzera. Bet Shammai says, no, these words are all Umot HaOlam words, but Kinuyim are not Umot, meaning these are Kinuyim. Are we gozer Kinuyim for Kinuyim or not? Nicknames of a nickname. Do I say, that's also like a nickname based on a gzera, not to have any issues, or no? We do make a gezerah of a nickname because of a nickname, because of kinuim. But Hillel says no, we don't make a gezerah of kinuim, nickname of nicknames because of nicknames. And if you see the Ran on the top right, third line down, The Kaimalan, the Ran tells us now, halacha. The halacha is Kerav Yochanan. The Amar Lashon Umotem. It's Lashon from the nations. The Kaimalan Nami Kinuye de Kinuyim Mutarim. We also hold like Bet Hillel. A nickname is allowed. It's like nothing. Okay. Says the Gemara. Now we're going to see what is Kinuyim of Kinuhim. Now we're going to learn some interesting words. Says the Gemara, Hechidami Kinuye Kinuhim. How is it Kinuyim of nicknames of nicknames? Tani Rav Yosef taught. Miknamna, Miknachna, Miknasna. That's it. So you have, Korban, Kunam is the Kinui. Miknamna. I don't know, Matthew's Mikmal. I don't know. I'm tell him it's Miknamna, Miknachna.
That's his last name?
Mikmal is his last name.
Mikmal?
Yeah, Makmal. Yeah, it was an Iraqi last name, Mahmul or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, Dr. Shaheen showed us a Tamir Chacham with that last name, like back in Iraq. But yeah, so tell him that there's some similar words over here. So a kinui of korban is kunam, and that's a kinui. Miknamna, miknachna, miknasna. Says the Gemara, Hechidami kinui kinuim de cherem. What's a nickname of cherem? Tani mafsha'a taught. Mafsha'a is the name of a chacham. That's the Rosh says it over here. Actually, the Mefaresh, which is in the Rashi says also Shem Chacham, Mafsha'a. Very interesting name. We're talking about interesting words anyway, so they have an interesting name. I shouldn't be talking with a name like Masoud also. So anyway, Masoud. Tani Mafsha'a. Mafsha'a taught. What are kinuyeh of kinuyim of cherem? Says the Gemara, Charakim, Charachim, Charefim. Okay? Says the Gemara, Kinuye, the Nazirut. What is a nickname of Nazirut? Tani Yosef taught, Machzakna, Manzachna, Mafichna. Don't worry, I'm not going to test you on this, don't worry. Okay? Says the Gemara, now questions. Ibaylehu. Mifchazna mai. Mitchazna mai. Mitazna mai. What about these three words? Are they nicknames or not? Okay. Mifchazna, mitchazna, and mitazna. Amar le Ravina, le Ravashi. Ravina tells Ravashi, kinma mai. What about kinma? Kunam kamar. Did you say kunam? When you said kinma, you say kunam. Or dilma, kinamon bosem kamar. You said cinnamon. Kinamon. Kinamon is kunam. Sounds like it. So you said kinma. This is like a kinma on me. Did you say kunam or you said kinamon bosem? Amar the Rav Acha bered Rav Chia, the Rav Ashi. Rav Acha, the son of Rav Chia, told Rav Ashi, kina mai, like the kinot. So he said kunam is a kinui of korban. What about kina? Says the Gemara, kina shel tarnegolim kamar. Did you say a chicken coop? Kina is also a coop. Or dil malasham de kunam, or maybe it's a kunam. Answers the Gemara on these cases. Tibaye, you're right. It's a question. It's like teko. It's like, all right. We'll answer it. It's a question. Next, kinuyim de shvua. Kinuyim, nicknames of shvua. Hechidami. What are they? Shevuel, Shevutiel, Shekukael. These are the three nicknames of Shavua. Asks the Gemara, Shevuel ben Gershon mashma. Hold on a second. Shevuel was one of the names of the sons of Gershom, the son of Moshe Rabbeinu. So when you say this is a Shevuel on me, Shevuel is a name. It's not. And Ella rather the Gemara said no, not Shevuel. Shebubael, Shebutiel, Shekukael. Mahu, and then Bach removes the word Mahu, but it's those three are the kinui of kinui. Amar Shmuel says Shmuel, Amar Ashivta, Lo Amar Klum. If a guy says Ashivta, it's nothing. Ashkika, Lo Amar Klum. Karinsha lo amar klum. All these cases, it's like nothing, these words. Okay? I don't know why you have to tell those ones. Say those things, it's like nothing. Okay, 2 dots. Says the Gemara, Nadar bemohi hare elu kinuyim. If you say I'm making a neder bemohi, it's a nickname. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, HaOmer bemohi lo amar klum. If you just said the word bemohi, it's nothing. But bemumta de amar mohi, mumta is a lashon shavua. Mumta that mohi said, hare elu kinuyim de shavua. This is a kinui of shavua. And this the run over here, this big run on our page says mohi klomar b'shavua shenishba Moshe. Mohi is Moshe. And actually later down, there's some that have a gears of momi. Momi. If you say momi, is so you said
Momi Solomon.
Yeah, I know. So you say Shavua b'momi. Shavua b'mohi. That's what he said. Is like Moshe. But Shavua b'momi, lo amar klum. He says nothing. You said that one?
Yeah.
B'momi.
Nikita no Momi.
Yeah, good to know. Tell any momis. Momi Buzaglo, Momi Oziel. Tell all the momis. Momi nada. It's not a nether. Okay, Chazaku Baruch. We did a little bit quick, all these extra interesting words. It was a quick one. And we got it done. Baruch Hashem. So Sunday morning, the next one. Bezrat Hashem. Sunday and then Wednesday. Bezrat Hashem.